Hello, welcome to another monthly Fibre Arts Favourites. I cannot believe we're at the end of another month. This is actually crazy. I feel like every time I do these videos it just kind of like really emphasises how much time is passed and how quickly that time is passing as well. But this is my June Fibre Arts Favourites, amongst some other random little things sprinkled in as well. I'm very sorry if you can hear the fan blowing in the background. It is super fucking hot today. I need the fan. I'm sorry. It's just hot. It's just so hot. It's like stiflingly, suffocatingly hot. So hopefully it's not too much of a distraction, but yeah, I'm gonna need it, unfortunately. Also, hello, if you don't know me, my name is Rajan, aka Not Half Bad Crochet, and if you enjoy crochet content like vlogs, day in the lives, Fibre Arts Favourites, then maybe consider subscribing to my channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a little like and leave me a comment to let me know what you think. Okay, so I'm gonna dive straight in. My first Fibre Arts Favourites is scrap yarn projects. I am somebody who has a lot of yarn. I also tend to overbuy because there is nothing worse than playing yarn chicken and not having enough yarn when you're working on a project. So I usually get the fear and I overbuy. I have a bunch of yarn left over and it's sometimes not enough to make its own garment on its own. So I've been really enjoying scrap yarn projects, or projects that I just think lend themselves really well to scrap yarn. The first project that I think does a really good job of utilising scrap yarn is my very own pattern. It is the all tied up cardigan. It is a really fun front tie cardigan and it uses 3 colours in this really adorable stitch, so I think it's really great for scrap yarn. For me personally, the pink and the yellow in this colourway were scraps that I had left over from my blossom cardigan, and then the turquoise, I think I only had like 300 grams of it, and all of that made this whole cardigan for me. The all tied up cardigan is a really cute front tie v-neck cardigan, and it has these little ties down the side of the sleeve, which I think just adds such a cute little fun touch to the whole thing. Also has a really cute scalloped border on the edge of the sleeves and on the bottom of the cardigan. I absolutely love this. I feel like it's the perfect spring and like kind of late summer evening cardigan. I obviously won't be wearing it now because it's too fucking hot, but I feel like when the sun goes down, if maybe like you're on a beach day, maybe you're on holiday, I feel like this is the perfect cardigan to wear. I also feel like a really long one of these would look so cute, like maybe even as like a swimsuit cover up, because the stitch is really nice and textured, and when it's kind of blocked and stretched you can definitely get a lot more airiness to it, and I just think it's such a fun stitch, such a fun pattern, and I love the fact that I was able to utilize a lot of my scrap yarn with it. Obviously if you would like the pattern for the all tied up cardigan, I will link it in the description for you. I also really love the scrunchie bag by Loopy Studio. This has been on my list to make for so long, and I really want to get the pattern because I've seen so many versions of this which look so fun, and I think especially in like a thin yarn it would look really good. I kind of want to make one for a day festival that I'm going to in the summertime, because I think it would just be like the perfect slouchy bag, but that you could still fit a lot in but isn't kind of like super big, and a lot of the time a lot of festivals have like a size limit on your bag, so I feel like it's the perfect size because it does have the capacity to expand. So I really want to try this one. I have a bunch of scrap yarn that I think would be perfect for it, and I love the fact that you could get really scrappy with it, but then you can also make some quite like intentional colour palettes, and I just think it looks like such a fun project. I also really love the look of the Francesca top by Cosmaudi, I think the designer's name is pronounced, but they are a really talented designer who does a lot of Tunisian crochet projects, and I feel like the Francesca top just looks so pretty in all one colour, but would look so fun in a bunch of scrap yarn. I think the stitch pattern would lend itself really well to a scrap yarn project, and I just think the top is so nice. I've been really eyeing up this pattern and I think it will make the perfect scrap yarn project as well. My next Fibre Arts favourites is crochet lace. If you haven't noticed, I have been on a little bit of a crochet lace kick, and honestly I found my love for crochet lace last year when I first made my blossom cardigan, because it was one of those things that I wanted to tackle last year that I kind of saw and was very intimidated by when it came to the skill level and what I presumed my skill level was, but when I actually gave it a go and tackled it, I was like, this is fun, this is actually okay, it's not that scary, it's actually not that difficult. I feel like once you have a pattern, once you have the stitch pattern, and once you kind of like find the rhythm with it, it's actually quite simple to pick up. And so my first crochet lace project was my blossom cardigan, then I did a little lacy dress which had a really cute lace square, and then I also did my lacy heart top as well. So I was on a real big crochet lace kick last year, and I definitely kind of revisited that this year. I think as soon as it's summer, I'm like, crochet lace is so perfect for summer. And so far this year I have made my Daisy for You vest, which is a really cute like patchwork crochet lace square vest. I think it's adorable. I've worn it several times already, like a lot. I've worn it a lot. I think it's super cute. I feel like it's really customizable. I think it's going to look really good in a bunch of different colorways. And I also have a project which I have finished very recently, and I'm yet to find a suitable name for it, but I'm sure by the time this video comes out I will have a name for it. But it's basically a similar construction to my Blossom cardigan, where it's kind of got this like split color down the center, but it has a completely different lace pattern, which is almost like this really cute kind of diamond situation. You have like this chain diamond and then kind of like a actual stitch diamond in the center. I think it's so nice, and I love this colorway as well. This used to be a different cardigan that I frogged and then just reused the yarn for, and I love a split color situation. It's something that I do quite often, particularly when I'm using older yarn or scrap yarn, because sometimes when you have scrap yarn you don't want to do everything in stripes. There's only so many stripy things that you can do, and I don't want all of my pieces to be striped. Sometimes I want them to be patchwork, sometimes I like a split color as well, and so it's a perfect way for me to utilize my scrap yarn if I don't have enough of one color for an entire project, but without having to do stripes and without having to do patchwork. So I think it's just like a fun way to accommodate using scrap yarn, and also just incorporating a really fun color palette, because I feel like this color palette is really unique but also really fun. I have written a pattern for this cardigan. I don't think it'll be ready by the time this video comes out, but do keep an eye on my page, because I have a whole vlog that will be coming on kind of more in-depth how I crocheted this, the whole process, that sort of thing. And then obviously once that video is out, then you will know that the pattern is out as well. I did this really fun like picot border on the edge of the sleeve and on the bottom of the cardigan as well, and I just think it adds such a nice finishing touch to the whole thing. And yeah, I really love this cardigan. I've been able to wear it a few times. Hopefully once the weather cools down I will be back on my lace game. Okay, moving away from fibre arts ever so slightly, I want to talk about one of my other favorites, which is neurodivergent accommodations is what I'm going to call it. If you don't know, I'm autistic, and I am a late diagnosed, or technically late self-diagnosed autistic, and I have found it really difficult kind of since I realized that I was autistic to put in accommodations for myself in terms of like practical things. I think I did a really good job of like mentally kind of working through all of these different things that I was kind of learning about myself and my communication style, and like with my partner and my friends and my workplace and things like that, but I didn't actually think about the accommodations I needed that weren't kind of bigger picture things. I very much looked at my autism like as a whole and didn't really kind of look at the individual things that I think would help me. And so recently I've been really like leaning into that a little bit more as to the things that I think will help me in the long run, and just even if it's really small and really minor, the things that just kind of genuinely better my life and make me less overstimulated and make me less stressed and just give me a better quality of life, really. The first one is going to be my ear defenders. I have had these for probably about 8-9 months now, and they have been an absolute lifesaver. Where I live, I have a lot of neighbours. I can hear them, especially with the summer. We have our windows open, they have their windows open, they have kids, they have a dog, there's people with motorbikes outside, there's aeroplanes going by, there's cars outside, because I live, like where I live has a car park. So there's a lot of sounds, and I get extremely overstimulated when there's a lot of noises, and I also get really distracted when there's a lot of noises. So when I'm working in particular, even like my partner kind of typing on a keyboard, or if my partner's on a Zoom call or something, I get very easily distracted, and I then get very overstimulated and quite stressed out. So having ear defenders has been an absolute lifesaver. I personally found it really hard to find ear defenders that were for adults. Like, I don't know why that people assume that if a child has autism, an adult isn't going to also. Like, I genuinely struggle to find adult ear defenders for such a long time. I do look pretty wild when I put them on. I look like I'm landing a plane, you know, which I don't really care. I think the fact that they're pink is very cute. It's like a pinky lilac kind of colour. And the good thing is that with these is that I can still hear, so I don't kind of get stressed out that I won't be able to hear like the doorbell, or I won't be able to hear if like my partner's trying to talk to me. Maybe if I'm out and about and I need to hear the cashier, or I need to hear somebody I'm talking to, whatever, I can still hear things. It's just the background noise. If I'm in the shops, like the music won't be as loud, people having a conversation won't be as loud, children crying and screaming won't be as loud, you know, that sort of thing. So it just kind of quietens everything a little bit. And honestly, like, I think sometimes people get quite embarrassed to wear these accommodations or to use these accommodations when they're out and about, but like, I just don't give a shit. Like, I don't know if it's maybe the fact that I'm older, or I don't know, I just don't care. I don't care. Like, yeah, I look a bit silly, sure, I just don't give a shit. I feel like my peace and my comfort prioritizes how I look, and like I will never care. My second one is extremely random. So this is a little like plate. This is so silly, I can't believe I'm sharing this, but this is like a little plate which has these like sections for different food. It also says "you grow girl," which I fucking love, because if you know me, you know I love like a weird pun. When I have like a plate of food, I tend to separate my food a lot. I like my food to be separate, especially if it's like one of them's wet, one of them's dry, you know. I'm quite particular about how my food is plated up, and so having this has helped in that department for sure. I basically wanted a thali, and if you're Indian, you're South Asian, you've been to India, you kind of know Indian cuisine. A thali is basically a kind of metal plate like this, which has these different sections. You have like one for rice, different kind of curries, yogurt dips, that sort of thing. So each kind of area is separate, but the only thing with thalis is that they are often metal, and I wanted something that was light. I didn't want anything that was heavy. I also don't really like how they feel, like when to hold. So I kind of have always been on the hunt for a plastic thali that isn't like a disposable one, and so I found this in Asda of all places, in like the kind of barbecue section. They had like a Lilo and Stitch one, they had like one with animals on it as well. I obviously chose this one because it's pink and it says "you grow girl." So yeah, I've been using this a lot lately. I think it's really fun. It's definitely come in handy with a lot of the food that I've been eating lately, and I just think it's like a really good accommodation for the things that I prefer. So this is kind of what I mean when I say like very, I dropped it, but very kind of like random little small accommodations that just improve my life, you know. Like it's a plate, you know, it's a plate, it's some ear defenders, but they have made my life considerably better and made everything a lot easier, so I don't have to like think about it. I just have my plate. So moving on to the YouTubers portion, I want to shout out M3 Knitting, I think is their channel name. I'll put their actual channel name below, but they are a recent kind of discovery of mine. I think I have found their channel through It's Gabby Crochet and through Jackass Collective. They've kind of mentioned M3 a few times, and then I came across them on Instagram, realized they had a YouTube, and I have been binging a lot of their videos lately. Their videos are so fun. Like they're a knitter mainly, so I don't kind of like, you know, I don't necessarily watch them for like the actual projects, because like I don't knit. I would love to knit someday, maybe it will happen, but at the moment I'm just a crocheter. So I really love their content because it's kind of, it gives me a peek into a craft that I'm not as familiar with. Like I kind of know the basics and I've heard particular terms and pattern designers, that sort of thing, but I really love the fact that it's stuff that I don't know. So I love learning about a new craft. I love learning all of these new terms, these new things. I also love the fact that they are plus size, they are queer, they are a person of color, and they are very vocal about it. I personally love to see that. I think that they are extremely kind of outspoken, but in a really like respectful and diplomatic way, something I am not. So it's quite a nice like difference, I guess, in terms of like the types of creators that I watch. I think for me personally, I've been really struggling to find creators who are similar to me in terms of like their kind of ethics, their morals, and even just kind of the way they self-identify. So, you know, where I am a person of color, I'm queer, I'm neurodivergent, I'm fat, like I have a lot of intersections, and it's very hard to kind of find other people who hit all of those. And I think that's very rare, but then also people who kind of advocate for all of those as well. So I think M3 is like a very close to kind of hitting all of those points. Not that anyone has to, of course, but in terms of how I relate to a person, I think we have a lot of similarities, which I personally love to see. They're obviously based in the US, so there's kind of some differences there. But yeah, I really enjoy their content. I think they are very fun and entertaining, and I would definitely recommend their channel. For my non-fibre art YouTuber, I would love to shout out Mary Stephen. I have followed Mary on TikTok for probably a good few years now, maybe like 3 years, really long time. I think they're really entertaining. They are so funny. They kind of feel like they give like younger sibling vibes for me, in a non-parasocial way, by the way, like not in a weird way, but they kind of give younger sibling vibes. They remind me a lot of how I was when I was their age, which I say their age, I think they're like in their mid to late 20s, so it's not even that I'm that much older than them, but it just kind of, it reminds me of when I was a little bit younger, you know. Her vlogs are really entertaining, her content is really engaging, she's just really fun to watch, and I didn't realize she had a YouTube channel. She doesn't post super regularly on there, hopefully she does soon and she comes back, but her vlogs are very fun to watch. I feel like she's very much a yappy, chatty kind of vlogger, which I personally love. I love to kind of just have that like almost like body doubling sort of thing. Just hearing somebody talk when I'm like putting my laundry away or doing chores or just kind of pottering around the home, that sort of thing. I really love that style of vlog. So yeah, I've been watching a bunch of their content. I find it really entertaining, I find it really engaging, and I would really recommend their channel. Okay, on to the media portion of my favorites. I'm probably not going to delve as much into this because I am doing a little segment on my channel called Stitch and Screen. I do have an episode out already, so if you have missed that, I will link it in the description. But it's basically a new segment where I yap about what's been on my screen whilst I work on some stitches. I think on the first episode I was weaving in some ends on my asymmetrical t-shirt, and then I was talking about a couple of movies and a TV show, and it was just a place for me to kind of talk about TV and movies in a little bit more depth, because if you've seen any of my crochet vlogs, if you've seen any of my other fibre arts favorites, you know I love movies, I love TV. Pretty much when I'm crocheting, I'm always watching something. I just love media, I love to consume it. I am a film production and cinematography graduate. I have always loved film and TV. I have a lot of knowledge in it. So it's just always been a special interest of mine and something I find really interesting and entertaining. So I will still kind of talk about my media favorites on my fibre arts favorites videos, but I think with my Stitch and Screen I'll probably talk a little bit more in depth about certain films, certain TV shows, and also then on that segment I can talk about things that I didn't like as well, which is often more entertaining. But going back to my original point, for my favorites for this month, I want to talk about a TV show called Link Click. It is a Chinese anime which I started watching probably about a week ago. I have just started season 2. I believe there's 3 seasons so far, and it is fucking incredible. It is so good. The basic story is that we follow 2 men who work at a photography studio where they, you know, develop pictures. They basically have like a special power where they can kind of see into a photograph and kind of see all of the things that happen within that photograph in that kind of time period. It can be a photograph from 15 years ago and they can kind of see the events unfold. Then one of them can click into the time of the photograph and become somebody from that photograph, or even be himself in that timeline. So the kind of premise is that each episode they are essentially presented with like a mission, and they kind of go back to the photograph and do whatever the client has asked them to do. So one of them, the client has said that there's a CEO who has like apparently been like fudging the numbers, and they need the data in order to like, you know, take down the company. So they go back and then inhabit the body of somebody who works at the company, try and get that information. And it's kind of all about whether they can do it, whether they do, whether they fail the mission, whether they don't. But the best thing about it is that the stories kind of all kind of connect. They all link. Do you get it? See what I did there? Or do you see what they did? But they all kind of link from the first episode. Obviously I haven't finished season 2 or season 3, so I don't know if that's like a consistent thing, but throughout season 1 there has been this like kind of connection. The 2 main characters are so charming, so witty, so fun, so engaging. They are really interesting and complex characters, and we kind of get like little glimpses into like their life before we kind of are introduced to them, like when they were children, how they met, how they kind of started working at the studio, like how they kind of got their powers, that sort of thing. And it is so interesting and so fun, and I have been absolutely shook at every single episode. Like every single episode it kind of ends on a little cliffhanger, but thankfully all of the episodes are out, so it's not a problem. But I'm scared for when I get to season 3, because there's only 6 episodes in season 3, which is crazy. Anyway, it's a really, really good show. I would highly recommend watching it. The end of season 1, I literally was like, oh! The way they end the episodes, my mouth is agape. Draw on the floor, draw in another fucking room. It's like they tease enough for you to stay engaged and want to watch it, but they don't just kind of like lay everything out. It's like they kind of make you work for it in a little bit of a strange way, but like it's fun. In terms of the visuals are absolutely stunning. The scenery is beautiful. The intro to season 2 as well, they've kind of changed the intro. I'm like, is this a painting? Is this real? Is this like CGI? Is this a painting? I'm like shook at how good the quality is. It is, yeah, visually stunning. The soundtrack is also so fun. Like I love the anime soundtracks, like, you know, for the intro and the outro, but this one in particular, the intro and the outro, outro for season 1. Oh my god, it's so fun. I would listen to these outside of the show. It's so good. So I would highly recommend watching Link Click. I can only imagine it's going to get better. I think the show itself has excellent reviews as well, so people have said that season 2 and season 3 are just as good as season 1. So I'm very excited to finish watching the show, and I would definitely recommend it. My second media favorite is a show called The Great North. My bestie put me onto this, and honestly it took me a little while to kind of get into it and to actually like listen to her recommendation. So The Great North is basically about a family who live in Alaska, and they kind of live a relatively like remote lifestyle. I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe in Alaska like it's a very kind of small place, I think, and it gives like kind of small town vibe. We're basically following this family who live in Alaska, and they are all very interesting personalities. Following a man called Bear, who is a single father to 4 children. They are all extremely interesting and fun personalities. They are so, each character is so unique and each character is so weird, but like in the best and most fun way. It kind of reminds me of Bob's Burgers, and I believe the animation studio is the same and the animators are the same. And like I said, it took me a little while to kind of like get into it, because I feel like where I love Bob's Burgers so much, and I have such a like deep emotional connection to the Belchers, because I have like watched that show so intently, and there's what, like 16 17 seasons, 15 seasons, I don't really know, but there's so many seasons. And I remember watching Bob's Burgers like years ago. Like I've watched Bob's Burgers with my partner like since we've been together, and we've nearly been together for like 10 years. So it's kind of a show that's like grown with me for a really long time. So I think like watching a show that's like in a similar vein and similar family, see what I did there, it's kind of like it's like it kind of feels like Bob's Burgers but isn't Bob's Burgers, so it kind of feels a little bit jarring in that sense. But it is really fun once you kind of like move past that a little bit and you realize like that each individual character is completely different but like almost similar in a weird way. Bless me. It does become really entertaining, and the characters are just so fun. They're so weird, they're so fun. They get up to like weird zany stuff, like very kind of Bob's Burgers-esque, where like all of the stuff that happens is just like so unrealistic but like in a really fun and entertaining way. I would highly recommend watching this show. It's really entertaining. All of it is on Disney Plus. I believe they are releasing or have released all of season 5. I'm not quite caught up yet, but yeah, it's a really good show and I would definitely recommend it. Okay, so that is all of my Fibre Arts favorites for June. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you have made any of these patterns, if you like any of the things that I've spoken about, watch any of the TV shows or any of the creators, let me know. Also as well, if you have any YouTubers to recommend, please drop them in the comments. I am kind of lacking on a lot of Fibre Arts content creators, particularly on YouTube. I watch a lot of the very popular YouTubers who do Fibre Arts and crochet content. I would love to know your recommendations, particularly if they are smaller creators, kind of like me. And I would also love to know if you have any who are people of color, who are queer, neurodivergent. But yeah, if you have any content creators who are Fibre artists, please drop them in the comments, because I would love to engage with their content a little bit more, because I am severely running out of content creators to watch, particularly if they upload regularly. But yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and leave me a comment to let me know what you think, and of course subscribe to my channel if you enjoy crochet and Fibre Arts content. Thanks so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you on the next one.